Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, today, I will start with a brief introduction about cloud computing and how AWS is providing different services under cloud computing. Agenda for today's webinar is introduction to cloud computing, then introduction of AWS cloud services, AWS services at a glance, use case prepared by or implemented by AWS using AWS services, uh, cloud career path, and AWS learning path. Then we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So cloud computing, because this is a very boom word in today's IT industry. So what we actually understand from cloud computing. So we can only see, okay, when we see about cloud, here in internet terms, in IT terms, we say cloud, something that is everywhere available that can be shared across, like norm in layman term, cloud moves from here to there. They take resources from one environment and then share it to another environment, maintaining a proper balance, what is required by which person, and this is how cloud works in normal layman terminology. Similarly, in IT world, we have cloud of different application and infrastructure where everyone used as per their requirement and demands. So in IT terms, cloud computing is basically sharing the resource, infrastructure, application, storage over internet. Here, majorly that actually facilitate different companies, different enterprise, not to think much about the infrastructure and the management of infrastructure. They only focus on their business values and business goals. So cloud computing is a model for enabling prevalent, convenient, on-demand network access to an integrated pool of configurable resource. We have many services, we can choose, we can cherry pick what we want to use and what is actually applicable for our business model. So, maximum benefit and why cloud computing is at boom is because uh, first of all, it is giving a good cost effect model. It is very cost effective and business want to reuse or utilize something which is very cost effective. Secondly, it is very easy to manage. We have dedicated teams sitting any other. We don't need to manage the team. We don't need to hire people for the infrastructure management. Cloud provider are doing that for us and at a very normal cost. And the third important part is we don't need to procure anything from the start or everything from the start of the business. Considering a case when a company is starting up, they are starting up currently, they have estimate like they will have business where they will need 4 systems, 4 OS, one server, and that kind of infrastructure, and uh, one web server, one database person. So this is something they have to forecast, procure, and have set up in their environment. But with cloud, they don't need to do all these things at this on day one. They can have minimal setup on day one, and slowly and gradually, when their business is growing, they can increase it with a matter of click only, and they can pay as they are using. It is not like something they have to procure now and store it somewhere. So all that headache is not there in cloud computing model. Then, as I told you, like cloud service model, it provided you services and you can choose as per your requirement. So based on the requirement, different organizations select different models. So there are three main service model. One is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. platform as a service, and software as a service. So if I want, in a simplest term, if I want to divide it understand it, maybe if I want to take an example in a day-to-day life. So infrastructure as a service is where we are purchasing infrastructure from the cloud provider, and we are setting up everything on our own. It is like we have land and we are purchasing uh, things to develop that, bricks and cement and everything. So we are purchasing all the infrastructure and then setting up our environment, our home on that land. So that is infrastructure. We are purchasing infrastructure to build the environment. When we go to platform as a service, so it is something we are going in a flat, that infrastructure is ready, that every brick, all walls are being created for us, all rooms are being created for us, but we, yes, we need to furnish it with our requirements. So that is platform as a service. Then we have a software as a service. So software as a service, in a layman term, we have everything fully furnished. We are going, we are using it as per our need. We are paying a rent of it, and then that's all. If we don't need it, we will leave that place. So software as a service is like we have everything fully furnished. We just need to use it as for our business need, and done. So these are the three models. So that was in a layman term. If I talk about the computer term, so infrastructure services is about when you are using different infrastructure, like you are using VMs and OS, all these kind of things comes under infrastructure as a service. And when you are going one step above, you are using services, like you are more concerned about, okay, these are the servers I will use Apache server, I will use this database server, I will use different kind of web server and web hosting environment. So that is a platform as a service. And software as a service is like I'm not setting up any platform. I'm using whatever they have. Like Gmail is a purest, or any mail service is a purest form of software as a service. We are not setting up any mail server in our premises. Google has set up that mail server in their services. We are just using their name, their domain name, and we are paying for that. So that is a software as a service model. So this is the service model, like which how what type of services we are going to utilize from different cloud provider. The second thing is cloud deployment model. So when we say cloud deployment model, what type of cloud setup we are going to use for our organization? There are many factors while selecting cloud environment or while selecting cloud setup. Sometimes we have the compliance issue, like I know because I have been working in IT industry from last 14 years. I know for some of the countries, they have very strict rule, like they cannot put anything related to database, or like for banking industry, they cannot put their database on cloud environment. No matter how secure the cloud environment is, they don't want to put the database on the cloud environment. For some industries, especially the healthcare and the life science industry, where the data is more about the research level. No matter how secure the environment is, but the government has the strict rule of not putting that data over the internet, or they want that data within the premises. Similarly, we have the scenarios when the company also have their security goals to be achieved. So based on the compliance and the security goals, there are four different cloud model that is being followed. One is the public cloud. So when we say about the public cloud, it is like the public cloud provider like Google, Microsoft Azure, and AWS. So why it is public cloud? Because they have the cloud services which are being shared between different or similar kind of business model. Definitely there is a security setup. It is not like if these resources are being shared, it doesn't mean that one enterprise can see or look into or uh, interfere with the data or the application for the other enterprise. That is not there. They have their own model, but yes, resources are being shared if we see at the core level. Private cloud, in case of private cloud, resources are not being shared, and the setup is made completely for one organization or one enterprise. So that is private cloud. Here there's nothing being shared between two different organizations. So there are some private cloud provider companies like IBM. They also have private cloud providing services. Then some of the small level company, tier 1 and tier 2 company, they provide this private cloud service. Then we have hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is a combination of on-premises deployment, private cloud deployment, or public cloud deployment. It can be a combination of any of two model or three models. So in case of hybrid cloud, uh, as I stated in the initial phase of this slide, that cloud deployment model based on the compliance and security issue, we have different model. So normally, hybrid cloud is being followed within the organization when they have major compliance. So what this kind of industry does, whatever is the front end, whatever is the application that is going to interact with customer or with a wider variety of people, that will be on cloud. But when it comes to database layer or something related to compliance data, that is being deployed in on premises infrastructure, that is not deployed on cloud infrastructure. So that kind of deployment model comes under the category of hybrid cloud. Then we have community cloud. In case of community cloud, the best example we can consider is Git services, repository that is there on cloud. We have the community share model. So in case of community cloud, some of the services are being shared and they are open for all. So that kind of cloud services come under the category of community cloud. So then when we are talking about cloud, so the one of the most important or a well-known cloud provider is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Then we have at the second level, we have Microsoft Azure. And at the third level, we have Google Cloud Services. So AWS is the number one cloud provider, and it is widely adopted cloud platform by everyone. Some of the key client of AWS are Netflix, and AWS itself is using, like Amazon is using this cloud services for their infrastructure also. And Netflix is the one of the most important thing. And then we have some banks using this cloud infrastructure, banks like Citibank and a more bigger bank, Swiss Credit Suisse. All these banks are using AWS for one or the other infrastructure or for one or the other application management area. And it provides on-demand delivery of technology services through the internet. So we can at any time, it is not like we have to procure at the end of, we have to follow a long process. Maybe today my business is required only to use something called Java and combination of a database. But if my business is growing and I have an idea where I want to start something in .NET, so That kind of on demand and quick services are being provided by AWS. It has more than 200 services on cloud that you can use. And in fact, it is also providing some new term called serverless services. So where you don't need to worry about the server also, which server is running behind. You just use that service, write your code, and AWS will take care of the server and the memory and everything. Definitely, there will be a cost involved in that, but yes, the company does not need. And for the quick solution, we does not need to worry about, okay, we have to procure all the servers and platform and all those things. So AWS is having many services covering almost every area, whether it is legacy services, whether it is compute services, storage services. Then we have AI services, machine learning services. So just name any area within IT and AWS has a solution for that. And that is the reason AWS is on number one, because when we compare it with the Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud, the number of services and the compatibility of these services is more in AWS. Now, just to give a quick history about AWS is like they started their offering with the infrastructure. They initially started like VMs and storage capabilities only, but slowly they moved to platform as a service and then software as a service. So this is the model that we have. Like if we talk about infrastructure as a service, we have EC2, CloudWatch. So these are the different services they are providing. Like S3 is a storage service. Then we have network service called Route 53, VPCs. Then we have compute service. So compute services are like VMs, virtual machines, we talk in a normal term, but in AWS or in cloud term, we call them these as cloud compute services, where we decide what type of machines or infrastructure we want to use, what will be the OS family, and all those things. Then in case of platform as a service, we have different platform that whether it is database, whether it is this is MapReduce, which comes under the big data family. Then we have software as a service, and these are the just few names. If you go to AWS site, you will understand that there are more than 200 services provided, and they are growing every day. Whatever is because AWS is known for customer obsession. The Amazon is known for customer obsession. So they are researching, they do continuous research, and they understand the pain area and come up with a new solution. So if we divide AWS platform as a service, then infrastructure as a service, standard cloud software as a service. Terminology. When we talk about infrastructure as a service, we have private, public, and hybrid model. So AWS supports all three models about infrastructure as a service, and these are the name of some services: compute, storage. These are the categories, not the name. Like under compute, we can have some 6 to 7 services. Similarly, under storage, we have different services where we have object storage, we have file-based storage, then we have cold storage, then we have network services, something like as we have VPN in normal term. Uh, in Amazon, we use VPC with a similar context. Then we have gateway services under network services. Then we have database and database, whether it is SQL or no SQL. AWS provide both type of database services. Then we have different developer tool and application services. So these are the few category Amazon provides services under which. For more detail, because it is very fast paced growing provider, they add and sometime remove also their services as per the market standard and demand. So, what is their strategy? How they are growing? They started with the public cloud and kept adding new product and services, and still they have public cloud, but they also provide some of the private cloud model. And when it comes to security, AWS has very good security guidelines and security framework implementation. When we are talking any of, when we, if we take example of any of their application or any of their services, they have very robust security framework and policies behind it. So this is again like, as I told you, you just need to name a category and AWS as a solution or service under that category. So compute storage, database, these are the name we saw earlier also. And then we have IoT, Internet of Things, and analytical services as well. This is one of the use case that is available as part of AWS white papers. We can go there and we can search on different use cases. So my major objective here was to show how AWS has implemented one solution using different or services they provide, and what was the benefit, what was the main objective and outcome of that use case. So the core banking solution from Tremons use AWS managed services to provide security and elasticity with low maintenance overhead. So Temenos is a banking solution they provided using AWS managed services. So see, when we talk about AWS services, there are two different category of the services. One, we use the services like we are using database. Simply, we are using their machine and installing database on those machine. We have our DBA who is implementing his role or his rule, and he is taking care of database. So that is one level of service. But when we talk about the managed services, so these services are completely managed by and handled by AWS. So like we can install SQL Server on AWS, that is one way, and we can also use AWS RDS, which is a AWS managed service for database. If we are using AWS RDS, we don't need to worry about the license. We don't need to worry about the different database policies we want to enforce. Everything will be done by some click options provided by AWS, and AWS will make sure that the service that we are using, the managed service we are using, is always available. It is headache or it is being handled by AWS completely to provide 99.99% availability of all the services that we are using. We don't need to worry about which model to follow, whether we have to do any failover mechanisms, or whether we have to any load balancing mechanisms. We don't need to worry about it. AWS will advise us on that, and AWS will manage for its managed services. We don't need to worry about anything when we are using managed services from AWS. They are a bit costly, but yes, normally customer tried whenever they want to implement a quick solution, they go for managed services. And even if they don't want quick solution, something they want always up and running, they go for the managed services. And if they have application those are interacting with a huge population or different geographies, they will they select managed services in those scenarios. Like in this example, this particular banking solution use AWS Web Application Firewall and AWS Shield. So these are the two services which provide security to web application. And when we talk about security, it is not only uh, the hacker security, it is also the white collar security. Sometimes our application got hacked by the decent hacker rather than the malicious practitioner. So WAF and AWS Shield, this combination make secure your web application from decent or white collar hackers also. Then we have API gateway. So API gateway help us to understand the flow of the calls, from which source we are getting calls, and what type of data is going to flow from for different source. So all these kind of monitoring can be easily done by using API gateway. Then we have load balancer. Load balancer, as name suggests, it helps us to balance the load of incoming request, and it route it to the available best available source. Then we have containers, ECS containers. So this is again a management container managed service by AWS. So I think I will not give a brief detail about it. This can be covered as part of different courses under AWS, because container itself is a big topic. Then we have Amazon MQ, which is a message queue server just to send the point-to-point delivery of the messages. Then we have again containers and relational database. So this is again a different managed services by AWS. So you can see all these bullets where we have used different managed services, and they are serving different purpose, uh, maybe storage, and like this is for security. This complete use case was to give you an idea like how some of the services, using some of the managed service, we can build a better solution for banking client, and for client where the security and speed both need to be taken care at the same time. They also need to take care of security. So when we have these kind of scenario, AWS managed service help us a lot to cover up that area. Then what we can achieve by going through cloud courses or by learning cloud technology? What are the different roles we can play when we talk about the cloud computing domain? So we can have different role, and we can select as per our skill set, our interest area. So we have the cloud architect role. So cloud architect role, basically, these are the role, this is the role that is being played by the people who understand end-to-end cloud services, who can come up and design, okay, we want to use this particular cloud services for this purpose. Like in cloud premises or in cloud computing, we have maybe if not 10 or 100, we have around 5 to 6 services serving the same business need, but there are some differences. So cloud architect help enterprises to choose, okay, which service is better for their requirement, and what should be the design of those services. When we will use those services, what should be the design and methodology we are going to follow? So that kind of activities being done by cloud architect. Then we have cloud consultant. So cloud consultant are the people who help enterprises to decide their journey to cloud. They understand, okay, they go to the customer environment, they work with customer, they understand their enterprise, their pulse, their business vision, their technology stack, And according to their vision and all the detail they compile and they assess, based on all those details they decide journey to cloud, how that enterprise can move from their on-prem infrastructure to cloud, what should be the criteria they should follow, what should be the um, approach they are going to follow, how much they can reuse and how much they need to re-architect. So all these kind of things will be done by cloud consultant. Then we have cloud network engineer. As we have network engineer in normal IT world, similar work cloud network engineer does in cloud premises. They understand network services provided by different cloud. They understand different security to be implemented at the network layer when we are using cloud network services. Then we have cloud system administrator, cloud product manager, and cloud database administrator. So we understand these terminology in normal IT world. Same work we have to do on cloud. And the additional skills required is to understand different cloud provider and different cloud services, depending on the area you are selecting. These are the standard rules, but sometimes companies have kind of a diluted role. They have it is not like sometime even I have played role of cloud architect as well as cloud consultant in some of my engagement. So sometimes companies are looking for a combination of one or two role. So these are the standard roles we can think about, but yes, some rules are very much diluted, and we can't go ahead and say, okay, I'm a cloud architect, I don't understand the network services. So these we need to understand all the things available in cloud, but yes, we need to master one of them. Then we have AWS learning path. So AWS advise its learning path with respect to the certification. If you have certification, and it is not like that you will get some dump available and you can go for certification. Definitely, that will not help while clearing the certification. AWS very good set of questions coming in the certification exam. They always change the question. So yes, you need to learn before attempting for any certification. So the basic certification that we have is cloud practitioner, where they cover the somewhere around 40 services of AWS, 40 most widely used services, and um, I should say kind of basic services from AWS coming in this particular cloud practitioner. Then we have associate. So when we have associate, associate is further divided into three category: operations, developer, and solution architect. For this, they expect 1 year of experience, and or maybe I would say not 1 year, 1 year of experience along with some learning. You can do it. And then the other one is the professional certification, which is one of the most difficult certification level. They have professional certification for solution architect and DevOps engineer. So the person who is preparing for SysOp administrator, and he can then prepare for developer associate. And after doing these two certification, the person can go for the DevOps engineer professional certification. These are the standard one. Then they have some specialty area. So these specialty areas are advanced networking, big data, security, machine learning, and Alexa skill builder. I think we all know about Alexa as in one of the Amazon service. So that is the specialty certification provided by AWS.